Imagine waking up to the sound of a battering ram hitting your front door. Not because you committed a crime, not because you missed your mortgage, but because you couldn't pay your property taxes on a home you already owned. That's the part nobody tells you after you pay off your house. The bill that never ends. This happened to a retired woman named Velma in Illinois. And if you think a paid off home means freedom, you need to hear what actually took her house. Velma Lewis's mother bought a 2-flat in Illinois in 1961, paid it off, and decades later, Velma inherited it. She was retired, living on fixed income. Then the roof started failing. In the same year, the property tax bill came, over $6,000. She had to choose fix the roof or pay the tax. She chose the roof. And honestly, I would have done the same exact thing. That's not irresponsibility, that's called survival. 3 years later, Cook County Sheriff's deputies showed up at her door with a battering ram. That's not my story, that's Velma's. And when I read it, what struck me wasn't the repair. It wasn't even the tax bill. It was a choice, the impossible choice, between keeping the house standing and keeping the county off your back. She did everything right. Her mom did everything right. Paid it off, maintained it for decades. In one crisis, and the system took everything. If you paid off your mortgage and you're still drowning in housing costs, this isn't about budgeting. This is about a system that promised freedom, and at the finish line, it delivered a bill that never ends. So stay with me because there's one shift in thinking that changes how the story ends, and we're getting there. The one that separates forced crisis from chosen action. This video is about what happens after you pay off the mortgage, when you thought the hard part was over and discover the bill never stops. Property tax. The hidden mortgage has no payoff date. This isn't about whether property taxes are necessary. It's not about schools or roads or public services. This is about what it feels like when your income is fixed, your home is paid off, and that one bill you can't eliminate keeps growing every single year. There are 3 ways this is happening that I see over and over. 3 ways property taxes becomes the thing that traps people who did everything right. And number 1, the payoff illusion. You celebrated freedom, then realized the property tax is 40 to 50% of your housing costs, and it never ends. And number 2, the assessment shock. Your home's value surges on paper, your income doesn't move, and the protection programs shrink when you need them the most. And number 3, the fixed income squeeze. Social Security goes up 2.8%. Property taxes go up 5.9%. Every year, you lose a little more ground. Let's start with the first one, the payoff illusion. You spent 30 years paying down the mortgage. You threw a party, burned the paperwork. You own it, free and clear. Then the first property tax bill comes. In Illinois, on a $300,000 home, that's $518 a month. Every month, forever. Here's what most people think retirement housing costs will be. Utilities, $250 a month. Maintenance, $300. Insurance, $175. Total, $725 a month. That's manageable. But here's what it actually is in Illinois. Add property tax, $518 a month. New total, $1,243. Property tax is 42% of your total housing costs on a house you own. In Florida, it's 17%. In Arizona, 15%. But in Illinois, property tax is almost half your housing bill, and it grows every year. You eliminated the mortgage, you did what you were supposed to do, but the system moved the goalposts. The bill didn't end, it just changed names. And over the next 30 years, if you stay in that $300,000 Illinois home, you'll pay over $186,000 in property taxes. That's 62% of what you originally paid for the house. You're not paying for one home, you're paying for it twice. So that's the first one, the payoff illusion. You thought you were done, but the bill kept coming. Now here's the second one, and this one is even harder, the assessment shock. Martha Smith is 86 years old. She lived in her condo in Ohio for 20 years. In January 2024, her property tax bill jumped by more than $1,000. Why? Because the property value increased by over $100,000 during Ohio's triennial reappraisal. Her home went up on paper, and suddenly she owed more. But here's the part that makes it worse, the homestead exemption. The program is designed to protect seniors like Martha. It didn't protect her, it shrank by $120. Her new bill, $6,700 a year. More than half goes to schools. She's been paying for school taxes since 1964, over 60 years, with no children in the district. These are two versions of the same problem, one slow and one explosive. Or take Joanne and Mark Payne in Wilmington, Delaware. They bought their home in 1993 for $144,000. The county hadn't reassessed property since 1983. 41 years later, in 2024, they finally did. New assessed value was over $550,000, a 544% increase. Mark is retired. Joanne works part-time with no benefits. She said, "There's no way we could sell our house for the price that's quoted here. I just kind of feel like we're in limbo." This isn't about whether the assessment is accurate. It's about what happens when the county plays catch up all at once, and you're the one holding the bill. Your income didn't go up 544%. Your retirement savings didn't double, but your property tax did. The on-paper wealth they're taxing you on, you can't eat it. You can't spend it. And if you sell to escape the tax, you're forced out of the home you lived in for decades. That's the assessment shock. Your home's value went up, and it's costing you everything. But here's the third one, and this is the one that compounds the other two, the fixed income squeeze. Henry Johnson was a retired teacher in Chicago. He lived in his bungalow for 42 years. Then his wife died that same year. He fell behind on his property taxes, less than $1,800. The county charged 1.5% interest per month. That's 18% annually. After a year, his debt was auctioned to a private investor who charged 12% more. Now, by the time it was over, he owed $81.73 all at once, or lose the home. He said they actually have their American dream and we're taking it away from them. Here's the math on fixed income. Between 2015 and 2025, 10 years, Social Security went up 31.8%. That sounds decent, right? But over the same period, property taxes went up 52.4%. That's a 20-point gap. Every single year, retirees fell further behind. And it's not because they budgeted poorly, it's because the system is rigged against them. In 2026, Social Security gave the average retiree about $700 raise. Property taxes went up and took $167 of it back. That left about $530 for the whole year to cover everything else. This is what fixed income actually means. Your income barely moves, but property taxes rise 5 to 6% a year. In Chicago, property taxes more than doubled in 10 years, from $860 million to $1.7 billion. South suburban Cook County saw a 19.9% increase in a single year after reassessment. You're not imagining the squeeze, it's real, and it's getting worse. Ohio State researchers interviewed seniors after property tax increases, and one theme kept showing up: the need to forgo paying other bills to cover the property taxes. Electric, prescriptions, heat. The researchers called it a threat to housing stability. I call it an impossible choice, and you shouldn't have to make it. So those are the three: the payoff illusion, the assessment shock, the fixed income squeeze. Now here's what makes it even harder. What happens when all three compound at once? When all three of these hit at the same time, something breaks, and it's not just financial, it's identity. You did what you were supposed to do. You worked, you saved, you pay off the mortgage. You earned this. And now the county's telling you that you can't afford to stay in the home you own. That's not failure, that's a betrayal. And here's where the system goes from broken to predatory. In Cook County, since 2019, over 1,000 owner-occupied homes have been lost to property tax foreclosure. More than 125 of those were owned by seniors. More than half of those homes taken over tax debts of $1,600 or less. A dozen homes were foreclosed for debts under $200. Here's the math that should make you angry. Initial tax debts totaling $2.3 million resulted in the loss of homes with a combined market value of more than $108 million. That's a 47-to-1 ratio. Read that again. The county collected $2.3 million. Homeowners lost $108 million in equity. If that doesn't make you uncomfortable, it should. When I saw that number, I had to read it twice. That's not a collection system, that's wealth extraction. And if you think that's random, it's not. When tax debt gets sold to private investors, they don't just buy anyone's liens, they target seniors. 96% of the senior homeowners who lost their homes over the past decade had their tax liens purchased by investors. The overall rates, 25%. Seniors aren't just struggling, they're being systematically targeted. You can't afford to stay, you can't afford to leave, and the longer you wait, hoping it'll stabilize, hoping you'll catch up, the fewer options you have. Which brings me to the decision that changes everything. The real issue isn't between high tax states or low tax states. It's not even about whether you should move or stay. It's about forced versus chosen. This is where most people start to get quiet, and the difference is timing. Federal Reserve researchers studied seniors and property taxes. They found that elderly homeowners have, quotes, great psychological attachment to their homes. They don't want to move. They'll stay as long as they possibly can. But property taxes create what the researchers called liquidity constraints. Translation, you can't afford to stay even though you want to. This isn't a lifestyle choice. It's forced displacement. On one end of the spectrum, you have people who move early at 62, 65, 68, before the crisis hits. They see the math, they plan, they act. On the other end, you have people who wait, hoping it will stabilize, hoping they'll catch up, and they move at 75 or 78 or 80, forced out by tax bills they can't pay, health crises they can't manage, or homes they can't maintain. Early movers have control. They pick the state. They pick the timing. They research exemptions. They downsize strategically. They redirect that $4,000 to $5,000 in annual property tax savings into healthcare, travel, or emergency funds. They make the decision before the decision makes them. Late movers don't have that luxury. They're reacting in a crisis, a tax foreclosure notice, a health event, a bill that can't be paid. They sell under pressure, often for less than the market value. They move in the winter because that's when the crisis hits. They don't get to choose the state or the neighborhood. They take what's available. And the grief is real. The loss is real. And it was avoidable. Most people don't wait because they're careless. They wait because nothing feels urgent until it is. But by the time it feels urgent, you're already in crisis mode. And the crisis mode is where you lose control. So here's what to watch for. These signals that it's time to act, not wait. First, watch how fast your property taxes are increasing. If it's going up 5 to 7% annually and your income is flat or rising 2 to 3%, the gap compounds quickly. In 10 years, you'll have lost serious ground. Run the math now, not when the bill becomes unmanageable. Second, watch your assessment notices, especially in reassessment years. Counties that haven't reassessed in years, like the 41-year gap in Delaware, are doing catch-up assessments now. Now, if your home's value jumps 30 to 50% in one cycle, your tax bill is about to spike. So check if you're qualified for exemptions, senior homestead, senior freeze, and apply before the deadline. In Cook County, that's typically late April. Miss it and you lose a year of savings. The third, watch the Social Security COLA announcements every October. Compare it to your property tax increase. If COLA is 2.5% and your property tax went up 6%, you're losing $150 to $300 a year in purchasing power. And it compounds. That's your signal to start planning the move, not waiting for the crisis. And fourth, watch for the moment you start making impossible choices. Paying the property tax instead of fixing the furnace. Skipping prescriptions to cover the second installment. If you're already there, you're no longer in planning phase. You're in the action now phase. And the longer you wait, the fewer good options you'll have. If you're in Illinois, Indiana is an hour or so away, and it can save you $4,000 a year on a $300,000 home. Wisconsin can save you $1,700. Florida saves you $3,900. You don't have to move across the country. You just have to move smarter. Look, I know this is a lot. The grief is real. The house isn't just an asset. It's decades of memories, identity proof that you did what you were supposed to do. Letting that go, or even thinking about letting it go, isn't easy. But you're not alone, and you're not out of options yet. The system didn't fail you. It was built this way. And the difference between forced crisis and chosen action is almost always timing. So here's what I want you to do. First, run the numbers. Look at your last 3 years of property tax bills. Calculate the annual increase rate. Compare it to your income growth. If the gap is widening, don't ignore it. Second, check your exemptions. If you're 65 plus in Illinois, you should have the senior homestead exemption. If your income is under $75,000, check if you qualify for the senior freeze. Those savings add up. And third, if you're starting to think through your own situation, whether to stay, whether to move, whether there's a better option, reach out. I work with people navigating this exact decision every day, not to push a move, but to prevent a crisis. You don't have to figure it out alone. And sometimes the right move is to stay, but stay with your eyes open. So drop a comment if any of this resonates, if you've already been through it, or if you watch this happen to someone you love. I read every one, and if this helped, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Thanks again for taking the time to watch. I'll see you soon.